listen, I mean, do you want to be in the wedding? And I'm okay not being in it, I swear. Okay.
A few minutes later.
Picking one person who is your only brother's wife and saying, I'm going to exclude you, is a big you.
It's really a slap in the face.
No one's saying they wouldn't eat. What she meant was, and what I meant was, I've held my sister. I called her every day. I took care of my sister.
The only times we really saw them was when we were on camera together. I can't remember any other time when I saw them.
But break your balls. Go ahead right now.
I'm not gagging.
Stop with the theatrics. Stop with the theatrics.
What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. Today, we'll be talking about the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13, Episode 3. And I'm just confused, because at this point, I feel like Joe and Melissa irk my nerves a little bit, because they say, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. But it's like, you do care, you care. It's like that meme with New York.
I don't give a. Do I look like I give? Because I don't. I can't believe he did this.
You care. But y'all, let's get into the video. Like, comment, subscribe. If it's not your first time seeing my face, please hit the subscribe button and join the family. Leave a comment, let me know what you guys think, and enjoy the video.
Let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flaming lips. You wanna play with me? You can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, won it, securing the bag.
All right, I'm out. My notebook. All right. So after Teresa and Melissa, we basically continue with Teresa and Melissa still arguing. She's like, I'm the villain. She doing all that. You know, Melissa's over here doing her big one.
We did. Like, I want to see your happy ending. I've been here to see everything. I want to see that.
And you know, they're basically still arguing about the seating with a whole engagement party, which is kind of irrelevant at the end of the day. And Teresa asked, well, do you want to be in my wedding?
I'm fine not being in the wedding. No, listen. I mean, do you want to be in the wedding? I would love for you to be a bridesmaid in my wedding. I'm being for real.
And Melissa, she's over here thinking about it. She's like, no, I don't want to be in your wedding.
And I'm okay not being in it. I swear. Okay. I'm really okay with it.
And then that's why I'm just like, at the end of the day, like, so you don't want to be in her wedding. You don't want to be a bridesmaid. So why is Joe going up in arms talking about, yeah, my wife not in the wedding, you da. And
yeah, I don't want to leave anybody out, you know?
You get left out.
Then eventually, they ultimately don't even go to the wedding anyway. So I'm just like, y'all care so much. Why? You don't want to be in the wedding. And Teresa asked you, she's like, oh, is it like a pity thing? You're like, it's like a pity, like, girl. At some point, and like, don't get me wrong, I feel like there's some things that Teresa did in this episode that I did not like. But I'm just like, she gave you a leeway, gave you the option to like, look, you wouldn't be there. But no, they left it alone. I'm just like, I'm so done with them. It's just too wishy-washy. Please let us know what it is. So Margaret, Melissa, and Jackie, they go off for lunch.
She said you looked her up and down.
Yeah, you gave her the at my house. She said when you look at her, you go.
You know, we all know that Jackie didn't get invited to the whole mozzarella party and basically cheese. Jackie was just like, well, I did look her up and down. I did.
I don't do that to anybody, but I did look her up and down. It was a train wreck top to bottom, and I could not look away. I'm the camper.
And you know, like, it is what it is. She just looks tacky. She looks like her fashion looked like she just woke up. Like, oh my God. I'm like, Jackie, you should literally need to be the last person talking about anybody's fashion. Like, ma'am, like, you act like you was over here. Dorit, Marlo, who else? Cynthia. Like, she act like she is really like that fashion girl on these shows. Like, she, like, plain Jane, hasn't brought nothing to the table. So I'm just like, for you to dare want to open your mouth about somebody else, how they dress, ma'am. Go to Rachel's house, and Rachel's doing a photo shoot for her daughter. Celebrating her second birthday. She has a cake and everything. It's really cute. And you know, she mentions to her husband, she's like, oh my God, I want more kids. And her husband's like, no, you don't want more kids. So we actually learned about that. You know, Rachel had to go through the IVF process so she could have kids, because when she naturally tried to have kids, she had a miscarriage, and then she couldn't conceive naturally again. So she had to, you know, go through IVF, just like how Candace is going through IVF. So with that, she has like 4, you know, embryos still on ice. And she's like, you know, we could have another baby. We can over here get it popping and do what we got to do. We can have another baby. And he is just basically like, you know, let's just try to figure this stuff out maybe in a year. But she want one right now. So I feel like that'll definitely be a conflict in moving forward, them trying to, you know, basically get on the right track. And I just feel like, you know, I wouldn't want to bring a child in this world, even though she already has kids, but I'm just speaking from my own experience. I wouldn't want to bring a child in this world if I'm not mentally ready to have kids, or if I'm still dealing with, you know, traumas and triggers from my childhood that I'm trying to get past, so I won't, you know, put that on my kids. So, you know, yeah. But, you know, I wish her nothing but the best. Like, we could definitely see that they're gonna, that's, you know, a little storyline for them. So we see Teresa, Gia, and Louie, and they're basically sitting down, they're eating, you know, they're shooting, talking, I'm about to say shooting shit. They're just talking, you know, enjoying each other's company, and, you know, Teresa brings up Melissa.
And Melissa brought up the engagement party. She's like, oh, you said I lied? And I'm like, yeah.
Coming from the liar herself.
The whole seating thing, she's like, well, you know, Melissa, when we were over here at Natalie's party, you know, Natalie brought up the whole situation where, when we were over here, is her name Natalie? Have I been saying Natalie this whole time? Child, I've been saying Natalie this whole time. Danielle. Teresa brings up to Gia and Louie, like, yeah, you know, when we're at Danielle's party, she over here was brought up the whole seating thing, and like Gia, Louie's like, oh, I don't know why she's gonna sit up here and lie and this, that, and the third. Like, she is just so disgusting for that.
It's just sad that she has to try to make up this lie to make you look bad.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, how you doing?
How's school?
And the vitriol that they have for Melissa, I feel like if Teresa and Louie had that conversation, I wouldn't be as bothered with Gia and then their other daughter Adriana walking in as well, having that conversation. I felt like it was kind of inappropriate. I feel like I've had conversations with my own mother about family members in situations. I never had conversations about that when I was like, I would say 18, 19 under. Now that I'm over here on, you know, up there in age, child. Me and my mom, we'll have those conversations. I can give my opinion because I have a little bit more experience to give my opinion off. There's something to base that off of. I feel like with Gia, I feel like Gia can have that opinion, but it does come out very sharp. But I do feel like it was kind of inappropriate for her to have their other daughter sit in on those conversations.
It's hurtful that someone says that just because, like, that was like about 5 years of my life. It was like sensitive time, and especially when it's not true.
So I've also been seeing on social media that people have been saying that, no, the kids, Adriana and Gia, needs to stay in like the kids' place. But one thing about it is that Gia is grown, and I feel like she has a right to give her opinion. And the thing about Adriana is I do feel like she shouldn't be there in those conversations, but that's her family. And I mean, I'm going to have opinion about my family, and I feel like Adriana has the right to have opinions about her family. I just don't know if this was the right way to do it. Because we don't, like, one thing I could give Melissa and Joe, when they do have those conversations, they make sure that the kids are not there. And maybe off camera they have the kids there. I don't know. That's none of my business. But on camera, their kids walk away. They go to the other room and they have those conversations. I can respect that because they are underage kids. Why are they sitting here listening to adult conversations? It's kind of weird, but it is what it is. But, you know, Gia is speaking about her relationship with Joe and Melissa. She's like, yeah, you know, the only reason they were there for us is because the cameras. They didn't really support you, this, that, and the third. And, like, you could tell that Gia has a strong opinion of her aunt and uncle. And I'm just like...
The only times we really saw them was when we were on camera together. Hurtful that someone says that just because, like, that was like about 5 years of my life, and especially when it's not true.
Whoa. Louis feels very, you know, he feels like, you know, they're trying to hurt Teresa, and he feels very strongly about that. And he gets really angry, and my whole thing is like, okay, you're saying all this, and I want him to have the same energy with Joe. Towards the end of the episode, he does have a little bit of that energy, but he's not saying exactly what he's saying right now to Joe at the end.
Disgusting. I'm so sorry that you're treated this way. And I cannot take watching this man be like this and act like dude, you don't think I see you?
And like, he's not saying, oh, I feel like you hurting your sister, and I feel like y'all are over here sneaky and this and the third. I'm just like, okay, but you have this vitriol and like this disdain for them now in front of Teresa and Gia, but when you're in front of Joe, it's you know, a little irritation attitude, but it's not that, right? But yeah, it's a lot. Danielle and Melissa, they go looking for like little fashion. You know, Melissa is trying to help Danielle start a clothing company. I think it's for kids. She's doing something, and the brand is called Bougie Kids. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever you can do on these platforms, I feel like if you come onto a big platform like this and you don't benefit or profit off of it with some type of business endeavor, you're just wasting the platform. Like, come on this show, not only to just like with the drama, but what can you gain off of these shows? Like, what can you it's not going to be here forever. So what can you, create to continue that momentum within your, reality career? I feel like there's some people that goes on these shows that they really don't do anything. I feel like Toya from Married to Medicine, Jennifer Aiden, I don't know what she does besides actually is a housewife. That's it. So it's just like, I'm not mad at the fact that she wants to start her own clothing line. So I'm like, girl, do what you gotta do. Melissa told her, Jackie was sizing you up. She was just looking and thinking that your fashion wasn't so great. And I just felt like that was messy of Melissa. But girls, this is a show. Danielle was just like, at the end of the day, Jackie is a judgy bitch. And it is what it is. I love the fact that like one thing about Danielle is when she says something, it seems authentic. It seems like she means it. And I like that. Danielle says that, she also brings up the whole situation with the beef with her brother. She like, yeah, my brother, we're not really talking right now. It's kind of the same situation with you, Joe and Teresa. And she's like, it's happened over Instagram. My brother was making fun of me, and I got irritated because she was doing videos on Instagram, and she was like, her brother making fun of her, and she blocked him. He called her like, did you block me? She was like, yeah, she didn't think nothing serious of it, but then he got upset, and that like put a rift in their family. It's crazy how social media can really tear up families. Okay. So Danielle basically says she sent a text to the wife, and I guess at that point it just caused a rift in the relationship. And she feels like it's the wife's fault. Melissa didn't like that because basically that is Melissa's position within Joe and Teresa's dynamic. So she was like, "Oh, I don't think it's always the sister-in-law, the wife. I don't think that." Da, 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 da. I'm just like, obviously you wouldn't think that, but at the end of the day, we just never know. Like these are just assumptions. Danielle doesn't know either because she hasn't talked to the wife about the situation. You're basically going off of this because of assumptions. So we see Jennifer, she's over here teaching her kids chores. I mean, this is definitely around the same age that I start doing chores and start getting paid for it. Okay. Her and Bill sit down, they talk about, Jennifer was like, yeah, all the girls said I'm not self-reflective. Do you think I'm not self-reflective?
And then she tried to tell me that I wasn't self-reflective. So do you think I'm self-reflective? You know me more than anybody.
And Bill, starts beating around the bush, really, to be honest. And he's like, well, I feel like you just communicate differently. You like, there's people get along with different energies. And Jennifer basically wants her husband to, have her back and blind loyalty.
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah. No.
Why does Bill always have to play the peacemaker? One wants to look at themselves, or one wants to... Shut the up.
She wants him to tell her what she wants to hear, not the truth, because she's just like, have my back. Like, you're over here want to take the side of the opposition. I'm just like, Jennifer, at the end of the day, I don't like my whole thing. If I come to somebody for advice, I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I'm coming to you for advice. So if I'm wrong, okay, I could take that and just say, okay, I'm wrong. Let me fix this. Or if I'm right, okay, I'm right, like I thought. So with Jennifer, she gets so intense, and it's like there's no reason, there's no way that he can be honest because she's gonna go off on him.
So I think at times this is what.
So it's just like he just like beats around the bush and just like bites his tongue because he feel like she's gonna basically bite his head off, and like that's not the type of marriage I don't think anybody would want to be in, like a prisoner in your own marriage. Come on now. So we basically head back to Danielle's house, and this is like a lot of information, like learning about her and her family dynamic. And her mother and father show up, and they're actually divorced, but they're cordial with each other. after she had kids, they decided to, like, you know, let's just be cordial and let's get along for the kids. So they're in a better relationship now. And we see that her daughter Valentina has an art show. It was so cute. She knew the names of the artists, and she was basically saying what the artist was famous for. So that was really cute. We get on the whole brother situation, right? And the brother doesn't talk to Danielle or the mother, but he does still have a relationship with the dad. Like, the dad is basically sitting in the corner bawling, and you're just like, okay. But, you know, he basically says, like, you know, this is killing me. And we see flashbacks of, you know, them when they were young. And it's sad that New Jersey is like a family trap. Like, there's been so many family drama on New Jersey. It's just sad to see that all these people hate their siblings. So we're at Melissa's house, and her mother and her sister show up for lunch. And, you know, the kids are there, and everybody's over here making lunch, and they go outside and, you know, eat the food and enjoy each other's company. So Melissa brings up if her mother and sister is invited to Teresa's wedding.
Were you guys invited to Teresa's wedding?
No.
You didn't get an invite.
Not this time.
I wasn't sure.
I mean, God bless her. I hope she's happy.
My whole thing is this. You know they're not invited, so why would you even ask that question? You know they're not invited. They would have told you if they were invited. That's why I just feel like some of this stuff just seemed like just made for TV. They said no. Joe is pissed, and he's like, but why? Why wouldn't she invite you to the wedding? Like, that's crazy. You're family. We've been knowing you for 20 years. And my whole thing is like, they're not Teresa's family though. They're your in-laws. They're not her in-laws. She might know them, but that doesn't mean anything. If I get married, right, and I would invite my sister and her husband. I'm not even going to invite my sister's husband's mom and dad. For what? I'll invite my sister and her husband. I'm not inviting the mom and dad for what? That's what I'm like. Especially when Teresa already has 200 plus. But the only benefit of the doubt I would give is, let's say that their family, both families, were super, super, super tight.
Years, my mother and my dad, they loved you guys.
Me and her father were always together.
Where's my date?
Come on, guys. Look at these two. No flirting.
Super tight. Right. Then maybe Teresa should invite them. I don't know the background. But I'm just like, at some point, they always want to talk about, well, you know, in Italian families, everything, Ohana means family. And I'm just like, at the end of the day, if Teresa didn't want to invite them, she didn't want to invite them, period. It's her wedding. Joe said that he called Louis to, you know, try to get everything back on good terms with Teresa, but she has to admit that she's wrong first. It's just one of those things with Joe. Is like, I feel like he is delusional at times, because if you don't even admit that you're wrong, what the fuck makes you think she's gonna admit that she's wrong? Please answer that one for me. It is so asinine half the time, because Teresa doesn't want to be wrong, Melissa doesn't want to be wrong, and Joe doesn't want to be wrong. So what makes you think like we can make amends, but you gotta admit that you're wrong? Ciao. Delusional. So we basically get to the end of the episode, and all the men are meeting up at the the bar or the restaurant. And can I first just say that Danielle's husband is the absolute best looking husband of New Jersey, hands down. Such a handsome man, period. But let's go ahead and get to the drama, because I don't got the time. Joe's talking about how, you know, the sister-in-law and the mother-in-law is not invited to the wedding, to all the guys. And they're like, what? My whole thing, like I said before, Joe, you're mad that the mother and the sister-in-law is not invited. And I just think that was just dumb, because to be honest, Joe had a valid argument to be mad at Louis when Louis called his wife insecure. Boom. Because I would have been pissed off if somebody would have called my husband insecure. Like, oh yeah, you know, that's an insecure me. Why would he do that? I would ask why you would say that, because that was a valid point. Like, what you trying to say with the mom and the sister, I don't got time. But the insecure thing, you could have brought that up, because that made sense. Because I even was like, ooh, I gagged a little bit, because I was like, come on now, that was a valid reason to be pissed off. I just feel like this is really like misdirected anger at Louis. And, you know, we also see about Gia versus Joe on Twitter. I'm going to talk about that at the end, because, ciao. But you know, Louis finally shows up, and he's basically walks in the middle of Joe calling him garbage. But Louis didn't hear that, and they hug, and I just thought, like, cause you know Louis, they meet like, what's up, dude, what's up, bro? And Joe dap him up, a hug, and I'm just like, fake as hell. But my whole thing is Joe and Louis basically kicks it off, and you could tell that both sides are irritated.
Why are you asking? I'm asking because you guys are having a wedding, right? You're inviting a lot of people? A few? How many? 200?
Louis coming in hot too. Louis is like really just like, what's the problem? Why would you say that? Why would you bring that up? I'm just like, okay. So Joe is saying, basically, he was there for Teresa when she was in jail. But Gia and her sisters are saying something different.
Sister, I called her every day. I took care of my sister. I was there. I live with your nieces. They talk about it in the house. Oh, of course. They're talking about one thing.
Different, which is what Louis is saying. He's like, okay, you're saying that you were there for her, but the daughters are saying something different. And he was like, of course they'll say that. He was like, you're the problem, and just like, you're over here. I feel like you're over here. You're supposed to be a man. You're over here a pussy. This, that, and the third. He starts slamming his hand on the table.
Don't affect me. I'm gonna break your balls. Go ahead right now. Stop with the theatrics. Stop with the theatrics.
So Louis like, okay, you're over here being theatrical, which we know he loved doing. Joe loves being theatrical. He knows that, okay, this is gonna make the trailer. This is gonna make it's just sad because you can definitely tell, like, my whole thing is Joe, I just feel like Joe be kicking up mess for the show. And like I said with Gia and Joe at the end, so Joe and, you know, Teresa's ex-husband Joe, they meet somewhere. It's not in the United States, can't be, because he can't come back. But they over here, you know, recording them hug, and it was like a nice moment. So I'm gonna insert the video. So Gia was basically saying that, you know, oh my God, you're such an opportunist. Like, why would you take such a special moment and post it on Instagram? It's not for everybody. It's this, that, and the third, which I kind of agree. But you know, at the end of the day with Gia, I just felt like she just jumped a little too hard, because at the end of the day, it showed fans that, you know, they're cordial, they're on good terms. So for me, I didn't think it was that deep. But you know, Gia felt the way she felt, and that's just what it was. So I just felt like this is just going to get worse and worse as the season going. I can just tell, because like Melissa's doing podcasts about the family. Joe is habitually speaking about the family. Teresa is putting a line in the sand. Louis, it's just going to get worse, and then the kids getting involved, and it's going to get worse once Antonia starts speaking up for her mother and her father. It's about to go down. I can already see it, because Antonia's 17, and I feel like Antonio has been waiting to say something. But y'all, that was the Real Housewives of New Jersey. It was a good episode. It's just this family drama is draining. I'm just like, y'all really hate each other, and I just feel like y'all just need to leave each other alone and just like get off the show, because you know that y'all not cool. So just get off the show, because it's just not going to get any better. Obviously, do it for your family. But y'all, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.